What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Travis. This is TWA Motorsports, and today we are in a sweltering garage. The temperature has taken a hike here, and we went from rain to straight summer. I mean, it is crazy hot. It's like 90 degrees out today. My shop's about 90, so you guys are gonna see me sweating, but I wanted to put this together today for you guys so you could see my new transmission jack. So you guys know that we've obviously got a lot going on here with this guy, which you guys saw here recently in a video, and then we need to put a transmission in the white truck. I know I told you during this video this truck would be for sale. It technically will be for sale, but I'd like to fix the transmission. So if it doesn't sell with a bad transmission, I would like to fix it. But the whole reason, well, look, I need a transmission jack, but the green truck is on slate to get a 4L80 swap. So that is the main reason I wanted to go ahead and buy one now. And then my dad's SSR, we're gonna do it first. I'm actually gonna be putting a transmission in his SSR. So I told him, hey, you need to get the transmission lined up because once I get the green truck on the lift, I don't want to hurry that process. I just, you know, kind of want to work on a little bit at a time. So his we can do in a day, which I will show you a video on all this stuff, guys. So anyway, Sunex tools. So pretty name brand, and this actual transmission jack has had awesome reviews, at least the places that I've seen it. I did not want to go with the cheap Harbor Freight option. I do have a cheaper jack that you see up there from Harbor Freight. I have an aluminum AC Delco one as well, but the reviews that I read on several different transmission jacks are that they bend or they're junk or I wanted to spend some money on a decent one. So that is why I got this one. I did have to spend a little bit more. I will list it in the description down below, but Sunex has been around for a long time. My screw jacks that you see between the Trans Am and that engine back there, I have two of those. Those came from Sunex. They make some quality stuff. And actually, I believe Sunex took this from another company, and I cannot remember for the life of me who it is, but like I said, great review. So we're gonna pop this thing open and kind of see what's involved in getting it assembled. I know that it had to come freight. It came on a pallet. I actually had it shipped to my wife's work because they will not deliver it. I mean, they will for an additional charge, deliver it to your house, but it is heavy. 186 pounds, I believe, is what it measures out. So let's get this thing opened up and take a look what's inside. So we got the lid off this thing, and I was gonna try to like put it together right here, but it would make more sense to go up here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take each individual piece out, and then we'll just lay them out and take a look at them once I get them out of the crate here. Now, you'll notice that my crate was broken, but it was still intact. So make sure that, you know, if you're getting one of these, everything's in the box. So that's why we're gonna lay everything out, make sure it's all here before we go throwing this box away, because we may end up having to ship it back, which I'm hoping not if there's anything damaged. But let's get it all over here, kind of spread out, and take a look at what we've got. Now that we got everything out, there's really not a whole lot of parts here, guys. You've got these little L channels that go on the plate up top. Obviously, you got some casters to roll it around. You've got part of the bottom assembly, then the ram itself, and I will say this is why it's so heavy right here. This thing is ridiculously heavy. And then your chain for the top, and then some bolts, washers, and lock washers to put everything together. So we're gonna pop the manual open and see. Really not a whole lot of parts here. It's just kind of one of those things where I think it's, I'm hoping I don't have to have two people, because this, lifting this up may be challenging to say the least, but I'm pretty sure that it's gonna bolt to, this is the bottom section right here. I think we'll probably have to put the casters on first. I'm not really sure, but we'll look at the manual over there and take a look at how we need to start putting it together. So good news, there's a blow apart, but no assembly instructions. So just from the blow apart, there, like I said, there's not a whole lot here, guys. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our washers and lock washers and one of those bolts, actually two of those bolts on each side, and this is the way it lines up. There is a section here where you can see this little dowel that's poking out. That's gonna line up with this guy in the center. And there is no, there's no right or left, so it doesn't matter which side you put here. That is the way it's going to be. You notice it kind of overhangs the ledge a little bit here. I thought maybe I got the wrong side, but I tried them both. There's only one side. So we'll get those started. And what I think I'll do is the casters, I don't know, it may be actually easier to put the casters on first fact, I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. And they're just a bolt, nut, and washer. We'll go ahead and put those on each one, and then I can kind of swing it over. That way we're not trying to have to lift this whole thing to put the casters on after we get it assembled. So let me grab these, get those threaded in, all 4 here, and we'll go from there. Now you can see we have all the casters in place. 19 millimeter is what this is. 24 millimeter is what the bolts are that go into the actual ram here. So let's go ahead and kind of tilt this up a little bit, get those started. Make sure you put your washer and your lock washer last. The bottom of this is threaded, which look, I'm hoping I don't have any issues with it. A lot of times you can replace the ram on stuff, so I'm hoping that they have a replacement option if down the road this thing fails. But it doesn't look like it unless you buy that whole bottom plate. But be careful when you're threading these in. Don't cross thread them on the bottom, because if you cross thread those, that's going to be a problem, because that base is built in with the ram. So not really sure that there's a replacement option out there yet. I'm sure there may be, but either way, just be careful. I'm just going to tilt that over a little bit so I can get those started. And then we will, once we get that going, I may have to prop something under the bottom of it to get the next side in. I got these 24s in with the washers and lock washers, and I did run them down with my smaller impact. I'm gonna tighten them by hand, but before I tighten them by hand, I wanted to run them through as far as I could, and I didn't have to get it too far up. So maybe we can just prop something, like I said, underneath it while we put the other side on. I think instead of trying to move this whole thing, I'll move the stuff behind it, and we'll get the other one in place, and then we'll move on to the top. I wanted to show you how I did this. I actually took 2 of these little L brackets and put underneath there, lifted this side up, and that's perfect. So now we can go ahead and snug these down. Make sure your dowel's lined up, and we'll get those snug, and we should be at least wheeling around at that point. And then we can move on, like I said, to the top next. Now for the top, all there is just a set screw here. And so we need to back that out, and then we're just gonna set it on top right here. And you can see this cutout right here, this cutaway. That is where that's going to ride. So we'll get it on there and just get it snugged down. So I set this up here. I did wipe it off a little bit. There's gonna be a ton of grease, and then you can see that, you know, you have your adjustment like tilt and lean. This is a 17 millimeter, so you can snug that down. Don't get too crazy there, don't snap it. And then I did go back and just make sure I was tight enough on the 24s here. And now that it's on its own weight, the casters. But man, this thing rolls so quiet. Listen. Crazy. So last thing we need to do here, it's just crazy. And they have locks on all 4 wheels, so it doesn't roll off on you. But we need to put our little plates up top here with our chain, and I'm gonna have to look at the manual a couple times. I mean, I'm pretty sure I know they're adjustable and whatnot, but we need to at least get them bolted down up here, kind of where we're gonna have them, and then that'll pretty much be it. Well, the bad news is I'm missing one of the bolts here. So I've got the washer and the wing nut here, but one of the bolts that goes to this guy here, I've got 3 of them on. But this last one, I'm gonna have to go to a hardware store. I'm not even gonna fight with trying to get this from whoever knows how far. It took me almost 2 weeks to get this. So either way, all we have to do now is put the chain on. And honestly, guys, the way this hooks on is a wing nut on one side and it bolts to the other side. You know, that's just a safety to keep your transmission from having issues. Obviously, if you wanna strap it on, that way it doesn't fall off. If it gets out, the weight gets weird on one side, it is a good idea to use that. Some of them have straps. You know, honestly, if you get these snug enough up along the side, these things generally don't have to have that, but it is an added safety. So we're gonna go ahead and put it on since it's here, and I'll kind of show you guys what the setup looks like once we're finished. At this point, we've got it all together other than that bolt that we're missing. It's just like a carriage bolt. It's square on the inside. Like I said, I can get that at my local hardware store, not a problem. I'll take one of these out to do that. But we've got the chain on, and so how the chain bolts on is on one side you have a 14 millimeter bolt. I put the washer on the outside of the chain, washer on the inside, and then the 14 millimeter bolt. And then let's see if we can turn this thing to the other side. There's like a stud You can see this little stud that goes in, and that's actually 17 millimeter on the inside. And then you have your hook with your wing nut up top. And so how this works is you would loop the chain over your transmission, and you would get it to, you know, whatever length you need, and then you use this to adjust it up and tighten it. So you get it as tight as you can with what length you use, and you use the wing nut to tighten it the rest of the way. So other than that, guys, because it's shipped to us in a box laid on its side, you do need to take this out and check to make sure that the fluid is full. So in order to do that, the manual literally says to, actually, let's just look here. I think it says to loosen that up. It's a 14 millimeter. All right, so it says to release this valve. So counterclockwise on the valve here. That should release it. Holy cow, that's tight. Yep. All right, so it is released. This must be as far down as it goes. It is. Okay, then you take a 14 millimeter, and we're gonna take this bolt out, and the fluid, it's saying, needs to measure 2 3/4 inches from that hole down. So that's gonna be hard to tell. I'm just gonna get a flashlight and shine in there to make sure that we're good. I'm sure that we are, because there wasn't any fluid anywhere. I mean, look, it's kind of oily, but that's gonna be the way of it. They put oil on this chain to keep it from rusty, and they put oil on all your adjustments here, which is nice because you don't want to operate those dry. Most people wouldn't take the time to oil those up either. So we'll make sure that's good. And then the last thing is there's a little tag here on the side that says that we need to turn this. This is the vent cap, and you need to turn it counterclockwise until it stops. So we will check the fluid. We will turn this outer ring. So there's 2 pieces here. There's a 14 on the inside, and then the outer, we'll turn that until it stops, and then we'll pump it up and see if it works. I'm gonna be real honest with you. With that out, I can't see anything in there. So what I've done is I've taken a zip tie, and I actually used my tape measure and measured it to 2 3/4 inches and put a bend in it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna thread that in there and see if it's got oil on it. And it does, right at the very bottom. So that means that we should be good. Yep. See it right there at the very end. Hopefully you guys can see it. So we're set. Let's put this thing in and see if it pumps up. Make sure to tighten that vent cap though. Now that we've got everything tightened up, we checked the fluid, we're good. We tightened or loosened that vent. I feel like it's loosening it. You're taking it counterclockwise, but let's pump it up and see if it goes. So there should be 2 cylinders. There's that cylinder that you're seeing going up, and then there should be another cylinder within that cylinder once it gets to the top of this one. So we'll see what happens. And there are locks. I probably should have locked the wheels because it's wanting to roll away from me here. Oh, that's not good. Got the chain caught. So there's a release right here. You have 2 releases. You have this guy, which actually wasn't even tight all the way. And then you have that pedal down there. And some people complain that the pedal descends too quickly. I don't know whether that's true or not because we don't have any weight on it, but I just want to make sure that other cylinder comes out. There we go. So you can see it's coming out. And guys, this thing will lift half a ton. So 1,000 pounds is what it's rated at. And I don't even know how high it'll go. That's way higher than I'm gonna need it right there. And let's use the foot to see how quickly it comes down. I bet that is pretty quick with weight on it. You know, you can unscrew it here. No, it's not that quick. Of course, it doesn't have weight on it. Let's unscrew it here. And then, honestly, guys, the other side, I thought this thing was the release, just because it looks like the release on all of the other stuff that I've got, but it's actually just a way to drag this thing around, which probably is gonna come in handy, to be honest with you. That way you're not grabbing the transmission and trying to push it, but this thing rolls amazing. I don't know what these wheels, like they have like a rubberized coating on them or something. They're super quiet. They're like a rollerblade wheel. It rolls nice. It makes no noise. Just glides across the floor. So, you know, the little, you might drop a nut or a bolt or something. It feels like it might just roll right over it. It won't get caught up, you know, like a lot of times these things with the smaller wheels, the cheaper versions would. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. I still got to get that other bolt. Still, like I said, not a huge deal, but it sucks that I have to go get one. But we're ready to use this thing, and you guys are gonna see it in action very soon. Like I said, I am gonna do a video. My dad's SSR is my plan first, just because, like I said, I can get it in and out in one day. The other thing though is once we get that out of the way, then we are moving on to the green truck. We're gonna get that 4L80 in that thing, get it back on the road, and it can be driven now, but let's get that 4L80 in that thing so we can put some power to it down the road. And then once we get the trans out of that, rebuild. And if I still have this, we'll be putting that transmission in here once it's rebuilt. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like I said, I'll list all the stuff that I used. 14 millimeter, 17 millimeter, 19 millimeter, 24 millimeter is all you need to assemble this. If you need fluid, I'm not real sure. I didn't even look because I didn't need it. The manual will let you know as far as what kind of fluid you need. Now these things are oily. I will tell you from experience, I used my neighbor's last time I actually used a trans jack, and his has oil all over it. So it's just one of those things that if you come out and there's a puddle underneath it, you know, you might check the fluid before you go putting a big transmission on it, and you know, don't hurt yourself, guys. But let me know, like I said, what you think in the comments about this thing, about the new video, about the stuff that you're going to see you do. Because another reason why I wanted 1,000 horsepower, 1,000 pound, is because at some point maybe we have to put a clutch in the Corvette, and in order to do that we have to pull the transaxle out, and I wanted something that was heavy duty enough to carry the rear, the trans, and the torque tube. So that's another reason why I wanted a little more beefy version of one, and we'll just have to see, because that'll have to be done on a 2-post, which, you know, hopefully eventually I get the 2-post in here. But either way, guys, if you did like this video, please, like always, smash that thumbs up button. If you are not subscribed, please go down there, hit the subscribe button. Of course, ring the bell icon that notifies you every time we drop a new video, and stay tuned to see this thing in action.